Here we ruddy go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. Here we go indeed. Fabrizio Romano has said the three words to confirm Chelsea have agreed a transfer for Kai Havertz to Arsenal. A very peculiar, maybe sensible transfer. It's a very, very hard one to pick the bones out of, but ultimately, as we all assume, Nkunku will be starting in that cam role behind a striker in Mauricio Pochettino's 4-2-3-1 formation. A very, very high wage earner in Kai Havertz, that might not be first choice, to be sold for £65 million, considering we bought him for 72, and that was 3 years ago. He's got 2 years left on his deal. Of course, there's things you can consider. He's won the Champions League, scored in the final, and scored big goals, which you think, increased his value. But ultimately, underwhelmed in terms of productivity and goal output. Decreased his value. Like we've explained previously on this channel, Football Therapy, his value left on the books for Chelsea's financial fair play bookkeeping regulations was £28 million. So, to sell him for 65, which Chelsea will feel like he's absolutely worth because of the aforementioned reasons of how much we paid for him and because of his stature in the game, starts for Germany, etc., etc., we should be very, very happy about this. Another one bites the dust, and Chelsea are counting that money. My money don't jiggle, jiggle. It folds, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about that today. Thank you for joining me. As always, multiple videos a day. If you want to keep up with the latest news, I'd recommend you subscribe, hitting the bell. And I do thank you for liking the video and showing your support. I love you very much. All right, so we are going to talk about this a little bit. And I actually want to build a lineup. A little bit of fun. Classic, generic content creator content. I'll use a website. We can do it together. It would be fun. But let's talk about this first. So £65 million to Arsenal on a long-term deal. I guess that's a 5+1 contract. He's 24 years old. They probably want him for his 20s, his prime. Where will he play for Arsenal? Well, it looks like they'll use him as a fluid player. So they can play him as a striker, or they can play him as an attacking eight. Lest we forget, when we first purchased Kai Havertz, Frank Lampard really wanted him. And he never played him as a striker. He played him either off a wide attacking position, or he actually played him as an attacking eight. We had both Mason Mount and Kai Havertz as attacking eights, which was a very offensive midfield indeed. Now, if Arsenal sign Declan Rice, he's the ultimate quintessential Premier League CDM that can sit by himself in a three-man midfield. He could be flanked by two offensive eights. One could be Martin Ødegaard, of course, their captain, and the other could be Kai Havertz. I mean, that's formidably offensive. Chelsea fans may understandably be wary of this, and I've spoken about this at length on my social media as well as here on the channel. By the way, if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's at FootballYannick. I have no issue selling Mateo Kovacic to City. There's a good piece on The Athletic where the City correspondent as well as the Chelsea correspondent Liam Twomey discuss how Mateo Kovacic is actually good for both teams. Of course, it's good for Chelsea because he's got 12 months left. He's 29 going on 30. He's ultimately not a starter for Chelsea at the moment. And in fact, he's never started more than 23 league games or something, which is really testament to... He's never been in the top 5 for minutes at Chelsea, which is really, really telling. That's not to say Mateo Kovacic isn't a fantastic footballer. He is, and he will probably, almost certainly improve, or at least demonstrate his top-tier level of ability at Manchester City. Chelsea got £30 million for him. His value on the books will be a lot less of that. It's a great sale for Chelsea. Again, I'll reiterate, for me, it's not strengthening a rival when it comes to Man City. Man City will become a rival when Pep Guardiola just gets the F out of here. I'm ready for him to leave. He's obviously the best working coach in world football. In terms of Ballon d'Or winner, it shouldn't be Haaland. He scored loads of goals. It shouldn't be Messi. For me, it should be Pep Guardiola. I know he's not a player, but I think he's the common denominator in there. And just quickly on a fleeting tangent, Man City have scored less goals than 3 of the 5 winning Prems underneath him, despite Haaland's ridiculous numbers. Just goals funneled through him. And he's obviously a demon in the 18-yard box. Anyway, I'm digressing. Kovacic is a good signing for City. They might lose Bernardo Silva and Gundogan, and He's neither, is he? Because he's not as offensive as either. Gundogan pops up with quite a lot of big goals and does the Frank Lampard into the box. Kovacic does not do that. But if they want someone to dictate tempo and carry between the lines, Pep does like that sometimes. He likes it when Bernardo does that. He likes it when Foden does that. Tell you what, Mateo Kovacic is a few better than him at dribbling. So he'll probably make them better. But to go back to Kai Havertz to Arsenal, this one is worrying because although Arsenal had an amazing season, they did drop off. And I wonder, it's yet to be seen whether they can sustain this level. So there could be a chance that Chelsea without European football, hopefully without a bloated squad, well, seemingly without a bloated squad, and hopefully with a settled culture and new good coach in Pochettino, we challenge for top 4. I mean, I would happily sort of take top 7 with a developed philosophy at this point because of where Chelsea have been levelled to. But why not dream of top 4? And then Arsenal are suddenly contenders, they're rivals. So selling to you're strengthening a rival in Arsenal. I don't know. But if you said to me, you sign in Nkunku, of course, it's since been confirmed by the club. We've looked at his numbers in a couple of videos. Feel free to check that out on previous uploads. It's just Kai Havertz won't be a starter. We're going to sign a striker, and Nkunku's going to start in the cam second striker role. It would have been good to have Kai Havertz. We'd maybe have Europe, because there's going to be more games we need 2 top tier, players in that position. But ultimately, we just maybe keep someone like Gallagher, considering we're selling so many players who can play that role and hopefully develop like Dele Alli did under Pochettino. And suddenly you've got a deputy to Christopher Nkunku who's serviceable with the scope to develop and evolve. £65 million for Kai Havertz to Arsenal. Yeah, I get it. You have to sell within the Premier League to make decent money. So off the bat, we've made nearly 100 million with Kai Havertz and Mateo Kovacic today. We've made over 100 million when you consider the Saudi sales as well. Of course, N'Golo Kante was gone on a free. There's no money there. But it's like 12 million for Hakim Ziyech. It's like 20 million for Kalidou Koulibaly. We don't know how much Edouard Mendy went for, but you'd have to assume it's around £15 million. Chelsea will take that because it's all wages off the book. People forget, like, those transfer fees aren't the hard bit. You could probably get those transfer fees in Europe for those players, but the issue is no one's going to absolve and adopt their extortionate wages. Certainly Ziyech is high and certainly Koulibaly is massive. No club wants to do that. No one can pay Premier League wages. Saudi League can. So there you go. So they'll say, don't worry about that. We'll pay their wages. We'll take them off your books. We'll take the wages off your books. We'll free up the space in your squad. And we'll give you the same money that European clubs would have given you had they been able to pay them. So well over 100 million. And you'd have to say already, like, if we, Hudson-Odoi is linked to Saudi, but we get Aubameyang off the books and maybe get a few quid for him. We get Hudson-Odoi off the books, maybe get a few quid for him. Pulisic is maintaining a great interest from Serie A in Italy, whether it be Milan or Inter or Juve. I think one of those clubs will buy him. And I think he'll probably go. Of course, some US national team guys have played in Italy. He's very much still like the man of the moment, Pulisic, in terms of international football, like, wearing the captain's armband, USA winning the CONCACAF, and, he's just looking good. Italian teams will be very wary of that, and that can only do Chelsea good in terms of his profile and saleability in terms of Christian Pulisic. So Chelsea are going to make a lot of money. We almost saved our financial fair play issues in a day. Incredible. We're about to build a lineup, but let me know what you think. Please do comment down below. I'm very interested in learning your thoughts, feelings, and opinions. And of course, if you want to subscribe, turn the bell on, because as soon as there's news pop in, I upload content as quickly as possible. But that's that news. I want to build a lineup of what we think we're going to have for next season, considering a lot of these sales and feeling a little bit more freed up. Okay, so here we go. I've got the lineup builder here. I'm using I'm using Foothead. It's just a good way of doing it. So this is apparently a 4-2-3-1. This is a 4-3-2-1 formation. So we need to change this to a 4-2-3-1, as this is Pochettino's preferred formation. Yeah, it kind of makes sense to have it like that. And we can start with the really obvious ones. Can we get Pochettino in there? Is Pochettino available? How is maybe it's because he's not working. Very sad indeed. So goalkeeper, we're going to have to all appreciate that it's looking more and more likely that Kepa Arrizabalaga is going to be our starting goalkeeper. If we are to believe the statements that Pochettino is interested in developing Kepa. Left back, in terms of first choice, we all know it's going to be Chile B, and similarly right back it's going to be James. Of course there are people speculating that maybe we play back three at times. Reece James plays at right centre back, and indeed Malo Gusto can come in to play right wing back. Now that is interesting because Malo Gusto could really impress. He's really highly rated and dynamic. And Reece James can play right centre-back very, very well. And he could also get forward for overloads. And also, we can protect his somewhat vulnerable hamstrings and just do less running. I'm already really excited about this. So, centre-back, it's going to be Wesley Fofana. Oh, I'd love to do the 89 card, but we're just going to do goals. Wesley Fofana. And as much as I love Badiashile, I think there's a profoundly high expectations for Levi Colwill, and I think he's just got Pochettino development written all over him. Of course, a lot of these players pick themselves, which is the exciting thing about Chelsea Football Club, because where the hell is Fernandez? Is he not here? Enzo Fernandez. Am I spelling this wrong? He's there. He's Benfica card. Strange. But Enzo Fernandez. This is the exciting thing because there's already, the players there. So Moises Caicedo. Let's see if we can find him. Let's just do that card because we're going to pay a lot of money for him. Already formidable Nkunku. He's got to have a good card, surely. He's centre forward card. I mean, he is very much a cam. So, I mean, centre forward is meant to be between striker and cam, isn't it? It's meant to be slightly deeper. But yeah, already that's looking great. Now, this is tough. I personally think, as much as I really want Mudryk to start, I think certainly the beginning of the season, we are going to see a reborn Raheem Sterling that Pochettino is going to look to as a senior good striker that can retain tactical information. He can develop chemistry with Ben Chilwell behind him. Enzo Fernandez, whether he's on that side, probably Enzo would be creeping on the left slightly, advancing a bit more forwards. Mudryk is young. He's awesome. He will be probably, touch wood, a starter for Chelsea moving forward. But for the moment, that's what I think. Now, we'll do a lot of fast transitions down the left, and Nkunku actually will drift slightly to the left, I think, which will leave a lot of dribbling coming inside from the right winger, right mid, and that will be Noni Madueke. Let's just do that card. So he will dribble inside, invert a little with his left foot, allowing Reece James to overload and overlap on the outside, coming inside. So there'll be a lot of leading over towards the left. But already that's pretty darn pokey. Now with a striker, of course, Armando Bria, highly rated, but it does look like we are going to sign Nicholas Jackson. So let's see if we can find him here first. There he is. Look at that card. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is only, I say only, there's two signings there yet to be done, and that's Caicedo and Jackson. And that could be in a non-European campaign, as in only Premier League and domestic competitions. If we develop that starting 11, I tell you what, Enzo getting forward more, fullbacks overlapping, giving width, Sterling and Madueke coming inside and supporting Nkunku for overload in the middle. Jackson is a very mobile and dribbly player. That is a pretty naughty starting 11. So let me know what you think about that. I'll be very interested in learning the thoughts on that lineup. Very exciting indeed. I really enjoyed making that actually. I'm going to do more of that moving forwards. Some people were asking me in YouTube comments as well as Instagram comments at Football Yannick on Instagram, should you want to be interactive with me. So I'm very pleased to have done that. I'll do more, and I wanted to talk about how we've almost saved financial fair play in one day. Comment down below. I'll be really interested in learning everyone's thoughts about the lineup and indeed the sales, and keep it locked. I'll be back soon as you can say football therapy.